Hi class, in this video we're going to do number 3 and number 14 on your chapter 4 mind type homework. So here's the question for chapter number 13. The following graph shows the market for cars in 2008. Between 2008 and 2009, the equilibrium price for cars remained constant, but the equilibrium quantity for cars decreased. From this, you can conclude that between 2008 and 2009, the supply of cars does what, and demand for cars does what. So we need to play with this graph over here a little bit, and then the end result is that we need to show the price for the car remain constant, and the quantity for the car actually going to decrease over here. So if you think about your demand supply curve, if you want to show a decrease of quantity, for demand to show a decrease in quantity, this must be a decrease in demand. So we're going to shift our demand curve to the right. And then for supply to show a decrease in quantity, this is also a decrease of supply. So supply curve must also shift to the right, or to the left. So now if you compare these two equilibrium, so this is the old equilibrium and this is the new equilibrium, you see how between the two equilibrium over here, they're on the same level for price. That means your price actually remain constant. But for the quantity, you go from this point to the left point over here. That means your quantity has decreased. So that actually match what we're looking for. So which means your price is constant and the quantity has decreased. So the answer for this one says the supply of cars should decrease, and then the demand for car is also decreased. Okay, so that's the answer. Let's give it a try if we get it right. Ready now. Okay, we got it right. Very good. And then you see over here, this table is very important. So you guys you might want to write it down somewhere, and this will definitely help you when you do your mind type homework. Okay, so let's continue to the next one, number 14. Few momento. All right, here we go. Another puzzle. So the market price for Hamburger in College Town increased recently, and students in economic class are debating the cause of the price increase. Some students suggest that the price increased because the price of beef, an important ingredient for making hamburger, has increased. Other students attribute the increase in the price of hamburger to recent decrease in the price of French fries. And then everyone agreed that the decrease in price of French fries was caused by a recent decrease in price of potatoes, which are not generally used in making hamburgers. In first group of students thinks the increase in price of hamburgers due to the fact the price of beef, an important ingredient making hamburger, has increased. So beef price gone up, and then supply for hamburger goes down, and then the price increased. So on the first graph, adjust the supply-demand curve to illustrate the first group of explanation for the increase in price of hamburgers. So the first group says the price for hamburger increased because the beef price has increased. Now, beef price is price of input. That's on the supply curve. So when the input price goes higher, that means company are having a smaller profit margin. Therefore, they will decrease the supply curve or decrease supply. So decrease supply, we're going to shift our supply curve to the left, and this shows an increase in prices from this point to this point right here. And then second part, so the following graph, the supply-demand curve is the second group's explanation. So for between French fry and hamburgers, we can agree they're complementary good. That means when consumer buy one, they also buy the other one. So when the price for French fry goes down, that means French fries are getting cheaper. So consumer going to buy more French fry. When they buy more French fry, they'll also buy more hamburgers. So demand for hamburger will increase. So when this happened, we're going to shift our demand for hamburger to the right. So from D1 to D2. Alright, now let's answer the last question. Suppose both the event analyzed above are partly responsible for increase in price for hamburgers. Based on your analysis for the explanation offered by the two groups of students, how would you figure out which of the possible cause was a determinant cause for the increase in price of hamburgers? Alright, so let's look at each one. So first one says, if the equilibrium quantity of hamburger increases, then the supply shift in the market for hamburger must have been larger than the demand shifter. Let's look at these two graphs over here. Now you see how the two graphs, they both have an increase in prices, which is good. That's what we're looking for. But for quantity wise, in the first graph, scenario 1, the quantity decreased And then for the scenario 2, the quantity increased. So the first choice says the equilibrium quantity of hamburger increases, then the supply shift in the market for hamburger must be larger than demand shift. Well, this is actually a false statement, because if that's the case, if your supply change more, then there will be a bigger force to push the quantity lower, so the quantity actually decreased. So that's false. And then for the second one, it says if the price increase was small, then the supply shift in market for hamburger must be larger than the demand shift. But that's also false, because either one over here, well, you know what, this one, let's come back to this part over here, because it says if the price increase was small, then, well, you know what, I think this is also false, because again, in both scenario over here, you see an increase of prices, doesn't matter which curve you shift, so that's also false. Now the third one says if the equilibrium quantity for hamburger increase, then the demand shift, oh, here we go. So if the quantity increase, then demand shift in the market for hamburger must be larger than supply shift. This is actually a good answer, because as you're seeing over here, if your demand shift more than supply, so demand is going to push the quantity higher, supply push the quantity lower. So if demand shift more than supply, your quantity combined effect will be increased a little bit higher. So that's the answer. Okay, so let's give it a try. So grade it now. Hopefully you got it right. Let's see. This is taking longer than usual. Momento, por favor. Oh, come on. I'm waiting very patiently. All right, here we go. Good, and good. Okay, all right. So this is the answer for number 14. If you have any question, let me know. All right, guys. Good luck.